Well, the playoff picture is rounding into form. We have 2 weeks left in the 11-man season. Welcome in to another episode of the Nebraska Prep Zone Report. I'm Dillon Adams, joined once again by Mike Patterson and Stu Pospisil. And guys, here we go. We got a couple of big 1-2 matchups on Friday the 13th this week. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but I guess we probably should start with what Stu had in his column yesterday with District 4 really being muddied up here as Lincoln Southeast knocked off Millard West, and all four teams now at 2-1 in the district.
Yeah, Millard West, Southeast, Southwest, and Millard North, 2-1, four-way tie, 2 weeks left in the regular season. Millard West could have gotten control of the race, but only got 48 yards of offense.
Wow.
I think I heard they had 4 touchdowns called back because of penalties. Lost to Southeast 21-10. That's second good win for Southeast in Lincoln over a Metro team. Papio High's only loss is to Southeast, and so Southeast goes in the rankings right behind Lincoln East. Southeast is in 10th. You know, the team that is staying with the 2-5 record, but I think provided they beat Southwest this week, is going to be Millard North.
Yeah.
Millard North last week had rolled to a win. They also didn't use Evan Hansen, a quarterback. I'm not sure if he's hurt. Caden Vermas stepped in, major college prospect. Looks like maybe they can alternate at least if Evan's available, and if not, Caden certainly gives them the electric type of quarterback with his speed, and so Millard North bears watching, I believe, these next couple weeks. And if they get in the playoffs, they'd probably be sitting somewhere 13, 14, 15, 16. Might not be a favorable matchup for anybody other than Westside.
If only Millard North had a little more experienced coach, right?
Yeah, doggone, young Freddie. Boy, I remember when he started.
Wow. When was that?
I remember when he started at Millard North. I was still in high school during the Cathedral days.
All right. I was only kidding, Fred.
Well, it's his 41st year.
Wow. That's amazing.
Certainly dean of the Class A coaches.
No doubt. But yeah, it's pretty crazy for those that don't know. I mean, all sitting at 2-1, all four teams control their own destiny to grab one of those 2 automatic qualifier spots, and then a third team would be in line for
maybe
a wild
a fourth.
card. Okay.
All four could. If Millard North wins out, if they get the win over Southwest and beat Bryan, I project their points to be within the safe range of being a wild card team. If they'd be about 352, 353, that's 39 plus. Usually the cutoff is around 38 in the point average. So I think, I would project Millard North with 2 wins getting in, unless there be some crazy results elsewhere.
I liked your comparison to the Big Ten West. I think that really fits. I mean, it is kind of a lot of mediocrity, but all those teams still have a chance.
Right. Well, and as we get closer, from what I saw on Friday night, you do not want to be in the 2, 3, 6, 7 hole in the 4, 5, 8, 9 hole, because you're going to see Westside earlier than you want to see. I mean, you do not want to see Westside, I believe, until the state final, if you can possibly help it, because going out to Kearney last week, it was, by most observers' reckonings, it was the most efficient demolishing of a good team. I mean, we're not talking a team that hasn't won or is struggling. Kearney is a good program at home, 511 yards at halftime, 56 points, hold Kearney to 31 yards of offense. It's 56-0. That's how the game ends. Westside didn't put its starters back out for the second half. Kearney gave it a little time and said, okay, we're going to just play this out. Westside's not trying to do anything crazy, and so we're just going to get through. Don't get hurt. We got a lot of season left. And, it was just offense, defense, special teams. And honestly, Westside didn't have a great return. Kearney had the 70-yard return, and then Teddy Rezak steps in front of the receiver on the next play, gets the pick, and any momentum Kearney might have had went out the window with that pick, and that was at 28-0. And so Westside looks good, but now we find out on Friday night how big, first of all, if there's a gap between them and Millard South, and should Westside win, how big is the gap with them to the rest of the state? Millard South on Friday night last week goes up to Columbus, where Columbus had played North, which is number 3 now, pretty tough a couple 3 weeks ago. Millard South needed a defensive stand in the final minute to preserve a 14-10 win. So, you can read a lot into that. You may read more into that than we should. Were they looking ahead? Did Metro teams traditionally have issues going outside, making the road trip? And this is a young Millard South team. It's going to be around for a couple years. Certainly challenging for state honors. This year, next year, and the year after for sure. And Ty Wisdom's got that program continuing to roll. But we're going to find out if there's a team that can stay with Westside, and if it's not, then does Westside really get threatened before going into Memorial Stadium next month?
Yeah, the road trip was not a factor at all for the Warriors, but yeah.
And they mentioned it. They mentioned that they heard the comments. Last year they got North Platte. North Platte had triple option offense. They didn't. Westside didn't have its A game that night and got beat in North Platte. So the preparation last week, both Anthony Rizak, their quarterback, and Teddy's twin, and Paul Amanji, the coach, they were dialed in. And unfortunately for Kearney, it was the wrong number for the Bearcats.
I was covering a different game that night, and excuse me, I went on my phone to check that score, and I saw 56-0 at halftime. It's one of those. It's like, whoa.
Did you think I had a typo on my?
I was just wondering. It's like, could it be that high at halftime? I mean, we all know how good Westside is, obviously, but for them to just have that total demolition of a game, and the other game, Columbus and Millard South, I think that really was a trap game for the Patriots going on the road like that, and the week before the really big showdown with Westside. So I think the main thing, kind of a Nebraska flavor, just win in advance, and they were able to get the win, and sets up the big showdown Friday night. But boy, Westside's really looking incredibly strong.
Well, and they're a lot of seniors. Millard South, mostly sophomores and juniors. So it's going to, again, Westside's got more big game experience than Millard South. But last year, it went to overtime at Westside. So, Jet Tamala, first-year starter for Millard South as a sophomore. I mean, bright future. A lot of their sophomores are Marion Jackson. It's going to be fun to watch. I don't expect 56-0 at halftime. I'll tell you that. I hope for the fans, and that's a 4-quarter game, and I think Westside could use a 4-quarter game, but they're certainly going to be set to rest their starters in the fourth quarter.
And I think the experience that all these Patriot sophomores, all these young guys are going to get from not only this season so far, but that game Friday night, going into these next 2 years. I mean, we were talking before we came on. We think that the Millard South can kind of ease into where Westside is now.
At least Westside territory.
Yes.
Not the Westside's going to go away.
Right.
But because they seem to have a program going, and you got to remember people like Christian Jones and Kenyon Cotton are juniors. So you're going to have some building blocks for next year. But this could be this game. Well, maybe even last year was kind of the start of a good rivalry renewed, because Westside Millard South off and on have had some tremendous games. But PAT, you get a good one Friday night as well.
Absolutely.
Right. 1 and 2 in Class B with Elkhorn North playing at Bennington. So another great game. That's how it goes, isn't it? You have one of those weekends where there's just good games. I mean, 2 really marquee games. So we'll see if Bennington can keep their long win streak going. And
33 games.
Mm-hmm. Wow. We'll see if Elkhorn North is up to the task. Those top few teams in Class B really feel like they've kind of put some space between them and the rest of the Class B field. But
Yeah,
step above,
yeah,
for sure.
we'll see what happens Friday night.
It's half of the Eastern Midlands Conference. It's Bennington, Elkhorn North, and number 4 Waverly. Omaha Skutt probably still thinks they had the defensive stop against Bennington week 1, didn't get it in a 14-13 loss. They have played really well. Bennett Turman's back at quarterback, but Van Dyke, while he was gone with mono, played well, kept Skutt rolling. So they've got 2 capable quarterbacks, large senior class, 32 kids in Skutt's senior class. It's going to be interesting, and I've not taken a deep dive into Class B yet. But again, who's the number 1 seed, and who gets that 2 versus 3? And with Waverly in there too, Waverly hasn't been to a state final in a long time. Depending on the matchup, maybe this is it. But I think there's a distinct cutoff between Waverly and the rest of the field based on consistency. Now, Norris gave Waverly a game a few weeks ago. I was reminded about that over the weekend. Again, you got to show up, you got to play, and there's going to be upsets happen and injuries and what have you. But conventional wisdom says right now those are the 4 teams you better keep an eye on in Class B.
Just saw the Vikings. Did they travel out to Scottsbluff? They got a nice win out there.
They started like 27-0 at halftime and finished 27-13. Scottsbluff kind of has hit the skids. Tough stretch, 4 in a row for losses. Lost at Hastings last week. So the Tigers' first time in a couple years in the rankings in Class B at number 10. Good, and there were whispers that this was going to be a better Hastings team, and I'm thinking maybe the program back on the rise. They've, again, the smaller towns, sometimes you get the cycle going of good teams, and then you get small classes or, just a talent dip.
Sure.
But, Hastings has the facilities, with the college, and it's good to see the Tigers. Good football tradition through the years. Some guy named Osborne came out of there.
Yeah.
I saw 2 pretty good Class B teams play on Friday night when Blair was able to go into Elkhorn and beat the Antlers. First time the Bears have defeated Elkhorn since 1995. So quarterback Bodie Sukup had a really nice game for Blair, the head coach's son.
And a Nebraska walk-on, from what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing that too. So it's kind of a really wild fourth quarter. It was low scoring until that point, but on a really chilly, windy night in Elkhorn, and Blair got the victory. So I don't know if either one of those 2 teams can stay with some of the teams that you're talking about on top of Class B, Stu. But that night they were both looking fair. But Elkhorn's kind of struggling right now. I think that's their 4th straight loss. But they all 4 ranked teams, and I think 3 of them were ranked 1, 2, and 3. So we'll give them a little bit of an excuse there. But Elkhorn looking to get it turned around, and really big confidence builder for Blair.
Yeah, definitely. They had started with 2 losses, have won 4 of 5 since then, and the loss was to Bennington. So, maybe they're not going to get as high a seed as they had hoped, but they're again one maybe you don't necessarily want to face in the quarters or first round.
I can't remember, where is that 1 versus 2 matchup in Class B on Friday?
It's at Bennington.
Okay. Yep, because you'll be there PAT, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
I guess I'll be at Millard South.
Yeah, you'll be at Joel. Yep.
I saved my seat last week, so.
Absolutely. So, I was looking through some of the stats. It looks like North, they've only given up 51 points all year, so kind of similar makeup, I guess, as the Badgers. So that'll be a fun one for sure.
Maybe not as not as good a schedule as Bennington.
Right.
Elkhorn North first couple of years got really saddled, for a first-year school, and it took them this cycle to get going. But I would say Bennington, because they were state champions 2 years ago, they were going to get a good schedule for this cycle. And, I think that's the test for Elkhorn North is how, and they've got the capability, but they're going to have to shut down Peyton. Can't think of his last name.
Can't either.
Yeah, I was making a pun with it a couple weeks ago. But anyway, quarterback and Quentin Archer, running back. Their offense has improved since I saw them against York, winning only 17-0. York had something to do with it that night. Elkhorn North playing two quarterbacks, Jet Tinglehoff, their speedster. I think it comes down to how well the Wolves do on defense against Bennington, and especially the line. But I'd love to be at both spots, and we'll have to trade stories after that night of games.
Yeah. Big one coming up Friday the 13th.
Could be a grinded out game, kind of like that Bennington-Scott game week 1. I think that was
14-13.
Yeah. So anyway, we can move on here. Speaking of the Wolves, they're climbing up in your latest rankings, Mike, and in the volleyball rankings.
Yeah, we had a really interesting week last week, Dylan, as far as volleyball goes. I'm going to start with what happened out at Columbus SCOTUS, where Kearney Catholic snapped Lincoln Lutheran's long win streak, snapped it at 74 in the final of the Centennial Conference Tournament. Chris Connor's Stars won in 3 sets, including the second set, which was 34-32, so a real marathon, and then they rode that momentum to the victory. So, just can't say enough about those top teams in Class C1. They're all really close, and Lincoln Lutheran C2 now. They used to be C1, but
sure.
26-1. They hadn't lost in almost 2 years. So even though they were at 74, they weren't close to the record of 105 set by
John Peterson and SCOTUS.
That's right.
Now, did you see him? Was he at the?
I did not see John.
Well, he might have been on the golf course.
Yeah.
And I bet he had his fingers crossed, like the 72 Dolphins.
Yeah, Don Shula, yeah.
Somebody told me that John's got, it's a granddaughter or a grandson, possibly at Millard West. So if he pops up around here, don't be surprised. But
okay.
John was a legend coaching volleyball-wise. But, that wasn't the only great volleyball going on. You mentioned Elkhorn North. They won the Eastern Midlands Conference tournament over Norris, and they're moving up. And also I was at our number 1 and number 2 were playing each other. Papio South and Scott were playing in the Skyhawk Invitational. Papio South prevailed in the best of 3, but it did go 3, and that last set was 25-23, so it was very close. But
free volleyball, gotta love it.
Yeah. But Papio South moved to 30-0 and stay our overall number 1 team. But there were only 5 teams in that Skyhawk invite, but the third one was Papio, and then the other 2 teams, St. Thomas Aquinas from Kansas City and Marist from Chicago, and they were both really good. So all 5 of those teams, really high-quality volleyball going on. So
Papio South finished undefeated, obviously, in that.
Right.
Who did Scott finish like 3-1 then, or?
No, Scott actually went winless in the in the tournament. Papio even got him, which Papio played him right after Scott had played Papio South. So draw your conclusion from that. But
what'd you do with Scott in the rankings then?
I kept him right up there. When I saw how close they played Papio South, and the Titans are ranked 7th nationally, and if 1 or 2 things would have gone the Skyhawks' way, they would have won that match. But Papio South was just a little too tough down the stretch. So that told me those 2 teams are really close still. It's tough with Class B, and we've talked about this because Scott plays so many matches against teams from out of state. Record-wise, not that impressive, 17-13, but 10 of those losses are to high-quality out-of-state teams. So they've lost twice to Papio South and once to Papio. And, where they fit with Elkhorn North and Norris, even Gretna East, those top Class B teams, that'll sort itself out at the state tournament, I would
districts
think.
first and then state.
Right. Got to get to state first. But it's hard to argue with what Renee Saunders has done, 8 straight Class B championships, and she really thinks that competition that they play really sets them up for postseason here in Nebraska, and boy, it's hard to argue with that success.
Well, I peeked at the national rankings today. You've got 2 in the top 25 with F500 or lower, and
oh yeah,
again, competition does matter. and that's why I'm never afraid to stick a team with a losing record in the rankings if they've played a tremendous schedule. I was going through some old clippings, and back in the 90s, I had Hastings ranked in basketball at like 1-13, but it was just they had dropped down from A to B, and they were playing a Class A schedule. They had almost beaten a good Grand Island team, and Grand Island JV beat my number 3 team in Class B the previous week. So, Hastings, I think, ended up. I don't think that was the team that Roncalli beat in the final, but it was during that vintage, Mike, that with those good teams back then. Hastings just, if they had played a Class B schedule, would have where I thought they would have fit. So, but again, I'm not hesitant to rank a losing team.
Now, when you ranked a team that was 1-13, did you get a little feedback from the fans? This is probably before email, right? So
yeah.
They had to write you a letter.
Well, hey, it did not come by Pony Express.
How about carrier?
Yours might have come by Pony Express. You're older than me.
How about carrier pigeon?
Telegrams, no.
A message in a bottle floating upstream on the. I don't think you could float upstream on the Missouri without help.
No,
probably not. But this is a fun time of year, guys. It really is. Volleyball is heating up, and we're gonna have 8-man matchups right after this week.
We'll have 8-man
playoff first round
Saturday for Sunday. We've got state softball starting Wednesday at Hastings. New format there. It's much like the CWS, where you break each class into 2 pods of 4. Winners will meet for the bracket, or for the 2 bracket winners meet in Omaha next Monday. So Class C, Class B, Class A are going to be playing at Connie Clausen Field. NET is going to show them live. Heard that Peaches James is going to be the color commentator.
Cool.
The analyst.
Former pitcher for Papio.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she doesn't throw out the first pitch, because I know Ron Higdon is looking to have noteworthy players of the past commemorate this new format, and TV, which is a great.
That'll be neat.
And baseball gets television too.
Well,
it did last
year. They've had it already.
Yeah.
So and that was really good. It was a real showcase for the baseball players. Now the softball players are going to get that. So you mentioned Peaches James from Papio. Too bad they never have any other good pitchers from Papio.
I know.
Right? Kidding again, Jordan Ball.
Jordy might be there, but again, what NCAA rules allow for, I know the Nebraska High School Hall of Fame with NU women's basketball is having a sportsmanship summit in conjunction with a women's basketball game, but they can't give the free tickets to anybody past 8th grade because it's so high schools can't bring students down.
Interesting.
Under this program, because it's an NCAA recruiting violation to do that.
Yep.
But we also have district cross country dodging the thunderstorms on Thursday. They're predicted. Hopefully we get all those in. And state tennis starts Thursday in Lincoln. New format there too, because of the work being done at the Cook Tennis Center in Omaha. Both A and B are in Lincoln. A, I believe, Thursday, Friday, and then B is Monday and Tuesday. So
we've got Metro Conference volleyball next week as the regular season winds down in volleyball, and then on to sub-districts and districts.
By November 3rd, volleyball's over, and then about 10 days later, they can roll out the basketballs.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is like a busy time of year, and
before we go, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wishes to you and your lovely bride.
Dylan was married last week, everybody.
I had a busy weekend.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
And you came back for this.
Right, I had to.
I think I'd stay on the honeymoon a little while longer.
We had to preview these big matchups, though, on Friday.
Okay.
So
to give up a day with us, that's hard to believe.
right.
Or his wife?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean,
You make a good point.
It's only been day 4.
You make a good point.
Well, I figured I had to come in here and brag about my Twins a little bit, too. They got a big Game 3 this afternoon. We'll see if they can take the lead over Houston.
Yeah, that was their wedding present to you, was
Advancement.
Yeah.
winning that game in Houston. And, boy, I just wanted to mention the Roncalli kid with the Phils. Boy, the Phillies just let that game slip away against the Braves last night.
did.
And now that's a series like Minnesota and Houston is a series. So
They just got that monkey off their back, winning that one game against Toronto last week. And seriously, this is the most excited I've been about playoff baseball since like Ron Gardenhire days, Mauer Morneau. I mean, I was probably like 10 years old then, so this has been fun.
Was Kent Herbeck playing then, or was that after him?
Wasn't born yet.
Hey, good to see you without your paper sack on. You can sell yours to Dillon.
The
Yeah.
Bears finally won a game at the expense of the Commanders. So
We got our showdown this weekend, so on Sunday.
That's true.
It's for the paper bags.
Yep. The
Even
battle
though
of
we
paper
lost,
bags.
we lost the great Dick Butkus.
Yes.
One
All right.
of my all-time favorite
Rest
players.
in peace, number 51.
Yep, agreed.
I'm scared for that game because that'll be their first game back in Chicago since his passing. And I
Ooh.
think that's going to be a big deal for
Yeah.
sure. So
Well, Jefferson might be out.
Jefferson looks like he's going to be on the IR. They announced this
Hamstring,
morning.
right?
Yeah. So,
Fantasy owners across the country mourn.
Stu, one of your half-favorite teams lost last night, the Packers. So
But I won my fantasy league as a result, so
it all evens out.
it all evens out. So
True.
Hey, in that division, what did I say from the start? Watch the Lions.
I said watch the Bears, but nobody listened to me.
Well, it's hard when you got a paper bag over your head.
Isn't that something, though? It probably goes Niners, Eagles, Lions for top 3 in that conference.
Maybe the Cowboys in there.
Yeah,
They're having issues.
right.
I think the Lions showed some spark that last game last year when they went into Lambeau and kept the Packers out of the playoffs. So
they've been
that
riding
really
that.
showed me something. And
You're
they-
actually in the Lions electric blue.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll have to wear my Bears shirt next week. So we'll see how that game goes against the Vikes.
Good luck to both of you.
So we can wrap it up for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll be back to talk about those 1v2 matchups.
And playoffs next week.
You bet. All right, see you then.